In 197 BC, the rugged hills of Thessaly witnessed a cataclysmic clash between two titanic forces, the adaptable Roman legions and the formidable Macedonian phalanx. Today, we will profoundly analyze the legion and phalanx tactics of the two most powerful ruling powers of ancient times, Rome and Greece, and then delve into one of the most decisive battles of the Second Macedonian War, the Battle of Cynoscephalae. This conflict had a profound effect on the ancient world and signaled the start of Rome's dominance over Greece. It's time to ready yourself and march into the Battle of Cynoscephalae. Following Hannibal's defeat at Zama, Rome redirected its focus towards the Antigonid Kingdom of Macedon in the eastern Mediterranean. However, even before this pivotal moment, the Roman legions had engaged in a series of momentous clashes with the famed Macedonian phalanx. And this confrontation would continue to shape the course of history. In 334 BC, the legendary Alexander the Great embarked on his historic campaign, crossing the Hellespont with his elite Macedonian army to conquer the vast Persian Empire. From the banks of the river Granicus to the plains of Issus and the decisive battlefield of Gaugamela, Alexander's forces repeatedly proved their superiority over their adversaries. At the heart of Alexander's army was the renowned phalanx, comprised of 9,000 highly trained phalangists known as Pesataro or the Foot Companions. Following Alexander's untimely death in 323 BC in Babylon, his empire fragmented, giving rise to a period of conflict among his successors. This power struggle led to the establishment of three primary successor kingdoms: Ptolemaic Egypt, Antigonid Macedon, and the Seleucid Empire. These new Hellenistic states inherited the military traditions of their predecessor, relying heavily on the formidable phalanx formation in their warfare. As Rome's influence continued to spread throughout the Mediterranean, the clashes between the Roman legions and the Hellenistic phalanxes would become defining moments in ancient military history. The eventual triumph of the Roman legions over the phalanx marked a significant turning point, solidifying Rome's dominance in the ancient world and shaping the course of civilization for centuries to come. In the theater of ancient warfare, the unforgiving terrain often served as a silent yet formidable adversary, impacting military formations with varying degrees of severity. However, the repercussions were particularly pronounced for the Macedonian phalanx, where the tightly packed ranks of phalangists relied on flat ground to maximize the devastating potential of their forest of pikes. In stark contrast, the Manipular Legion, embraced by the Romans as a strategic departure from the Greek-style phalanx, owed its inception to the exigencies of mountainous warfare against the Samnites in central Italy. The Manipul's inherent flexibility, capable of bending and stretching as needed, conferred a distinct advantage in rugged terrain, a stark contrast to the phalanx's reliance on open plains for optimal performance. The Battle of Pydna in 168 BC served as a vivid illustration of the contrasting strengths of these two formations. Initially, on the flat expanse of the battlefield, the Antigonid phalanx asserted its dominance with ease, repelling the Roman violetes, skirmishers, and hastity with minimal effort. The phalangists seemed impervious to the Roman assault, their formidable array of sarissas presenting an impenetrable barrier. However, the tide turned dramatically as the Romans strategically withdrew to the mountainous slopes, enticing the Macedonians to pursue. As the Antigonid forces ascended the treacherous terrain, the cohesion of the phalanx began to unravel, exposing vulnerabilities that the Romans deftly exploited. With their formation disrupted by the landscape, the adaptable Romans capitalized on the opportunity, slicing through the disarrayed phalanx with ruthless efficiency, compelling the remnants of the Antigonid army to flee in disarray. The phalangists of the Hellenistic era wielded the sarissa, a fearsome, two-handed, iron-headed pike measuring between 16 to 21 feet in length, crafted from sturdy cornel or ashwood shafts. These spears featured diminutive yet lethal iron heads, aptly likened to little teeth by the Roman poet Gratius, augmenting their offensive capabilities. The sarissas were equipped with a butt spike for additional versatility. Phalangists donned various types of bronze helmets, including the iconic pylos and Corinthian styles, for cranial protection, while their torsos were safeguarded by linen cuirasses or bronze cuirasses. Clypus greaves shielded their lower limbs, while a smaller pelta shield offered limited arm protection. Conversely, the Roman hastity, comprising the vanguard of the legion's heavy infantry, adopted a lighter loadout tailored for agility and versatility, clad in comparatively lighter armor, likely consisting of a single pectoral slab and a lone greave. They compensated with the formidable scutum shield, significantly heavier than their phalangite counterparts. Armed with the iconic gladius sword, measuring approximately 85 centimeters in length, hastity possessed both the finesse of individual combat and the cohesion of organized maniples. Furthermore, equipped with two pila, throwing javelins, they seamlessly transitioned from ranged assaults to close-quarter engagements, embodying the multifaceted capabilities of Roman legionaries. As the Roman javelins hurtled through the air in a deadly barrage, they wrought havoc among the tightly packed ranks of the phalangists. Each projectile, when unleashed en masse, forced the Macedonian warriors to abandon their crucial shields, leaving them perilously exposed to subsequent assaults. The relentless onslaught of these missiles not only inflicted physical harm, but also sowed seeds of disarray and panic within the phalanx, further amplifying its vulnerability. In stark contrast, the phalangists, designed primarily for long-range melee engagements, found themselves ill-equipped to contend with the relentless advance of the legionaries once they breached the bristling wall of pikes, rendering their formidable formation virtually ineffectual. Beyond the battlefield tactics, the leadership style exhibited by commanders played a pivotal role in determining the fortunes of their respective armies. Deeply influenced by the cultural and political ethos of Rome and the Eastern Greek kingdoms. In the Hellenistic tradition, monarchs often sought to emulate the heroic exploits of their legendary progenitor, Alexander the Great, by personally leading their forces into battle. From the valiant exploits of Pyrrhus of Epirus amidst the chaos of Heraclea to his fateful demise against the Croggives, or the resolute presence of Philip V of Macedon atop the ridge at Cynoscephalae, and a daring charge of Seleucid Emperor Antiochus III at Magnesia, these monarchs exemplified the ideal of martial prowess and personal heroism. However, this singular focus on individual valor often came at the expense of effective leadership within the phalanx, depriving it of the cohesive direction necessary to withstand the dynamic and adaptable tactics of the manipular legion. The role of commanders in shaping the outcome of battles was not limited to grand displays of heroism, but often involved strategic oversight from a vantage point just behind the front lines. Typically, consuls led their forces from horseback, affording them an elevated position on the battlefield and facilitating swift maneuvers to address critical developments. An example of this is, once again, the Battle of Cynoscephalae, where Quintus Flamininus observed his left flank collapsing under the sheer weight of the phalanx. The Battle of Cynoscephalae was a decisive engagement between the Roman Republic, led by Titus Quintus Flamininus, and the Macedonian Kingdom, commanded by Philip V. The battle unfolded in a single dramatic day, with significant strategic movements and tactical maneuvers that highlighted the contrasting military philosophies of the two powers. The day began with both armies positioned on opposite sets of hills near Cynoscephalae in Thessaly, Greece. The terrain was rugged and hilly, playing a crucial role in the battle's dynamics. The morning was shrouded in thick fog, severely limiting visibility and leading to initial confusion. Early skirmishes broke out as Roman scouts and light infantry encountered Macedonian foragers. These skirmishes quickly escalated, drawing more troops from both sides into the conflict. As the fog began to lift, both armies could finally see each other, and the engagement intensified. The Macedonian phalanx, renowned for its dense formation and long spears, Ceresis initially held an advantage in the center. Philip V, confident in the strength of his phalanx, ordered his right wing to advance aggressively down the slopes towards the Roman left wing. The tightly packed formation of the phalanx created an almost impenetrable front line, presenting a formidable challenge to the Romans. In response, Flamininus deployed his Roman legions in a manipular formation, characterized by small, flexible units called maniples. This formation allowed the Roman army to adapt quickly to the rugged terrain and the dynamic conditions of the battlefield. The Roman left wing moved forward to meet the advancing Macedonian phalanx. The maniples, moving in a staggered formation, exploited the uneven ground, which disrupted the rigid structure of the Macedonian phalanx. Mid-morning marked the turning point of the battle. Flamininus, recognizing an opportunity, ordered a detachment of Roman troops to climb the hills and flank the Macedonian left wing from the side and rear. This maneuver was crucial, as the phalanx's rigid structure made it difficult for the Macedonians to turn and face the new threat. The Macedonian left wing began to collapse under the pressure of the Roman assault. The Roman maniples, maintaining their flexible formation, pressed forward aggressively, exploiting every gap and weakness in the Macedonian lines. Sensing the Macedonian left was faltering, Flamininus ordered a full-scale attack across the front. The Roman maniples advanced with coordinated precision, their flexibility allowing them to adapt to the battlefield's changing conditions. The Macedonian right wing, initially successful, found itself isolated as the rest of the army began to rout. The phalanx, unable to reform quickly enough to counter the Roman advance, crumbled under the sustained assault. By late afternoon, the Macedonian forces were decisively defeated. The Roman victory was comprehensive, with heavy casualties inflicted on the Macedonian side. with around 8,000 soldiers killed and another 5,000 captured. The remaining Macedonian troops fled the battlefield in disarray, leaving Philip V's army shattered. The defeat at Cynoscephalae marked the end of significant Macedonian resistance in the Second Macedonian War. After the decisive Battle of Cynoscephalae in 197 BC, the geopolitical landscape of the ancient Mediterranean underwent significant transformations, particularly affecting both Rome and Greece. The defeat of the Macedonian Phalanx under King Philip V at Cynoscephalae effectively signaled a dramatic shift in power. In the aftermath, the Treaty of Tempia was signed, which had profound implications for Greece. Rome imposed harsh terms on Macedon, demanding the disbandment of the Macedonian navy, the reduction of their army to a mere 5,000 men, and the payment of a hefty indemnity. Rome proclaimed the liberation of Greek states, presenting itself as the protector of Greek autonomy against Macedonian hegemony. At the Isthmian Games in 196 BC, Flamininus famously declared the freedom of Greek cities, a move that significantly bolstered Rome's influence and popularity in the region. This declaration, however, was a double-edged sword, as it marked the beginning of a new era of Roman intervention in Greek affairs. While many Greek states welcomed the end of Macedonian domination, they soon found themselves under the shadow of Roman authority. The battle demonstrated the superiority of the Roman military system over the traditional Hellenistic phalanx, a fact that reverberated throughout the ancient world. The Roman legions, with their flexibility and tactical sophistication, had proven their dominance, setting a new standard for military excellence. The conquest of Macedon had far-reaching implications. It not only provided Rome with a strategic foothold in the Balkans, but also opened up new economic and political opportunities. Roman influence in the Eastern Mediterranean expanded rapidly, and this victory paved the way for further campaigns in the region. Over the next few decades, Rome would continue to exert its influence, eventually leading to the direct annexation of Macedon after the Battle of Pydna in 168 BC and the establishment of Roman provinces in the area. The Battle of Cynoscephalae was a pivotal moment in Rome's expansion into the Eastern Mediterranean. It highlighted the changing nature of warfare, where flexibility and adaptability became more critical than sheer strength and rigidity. The Roman ability to maneuver effectively on varied terrain and exploit weaknesses in the phalanx formation was decisive in their victory. The Battle of Cynoscephalae paved the way for Roman dominance in Greece, setting the stage for further conquests and the eventual establishment of Roman power over the Hellenistic kingdoms. See you in the next battle video. Leave in the comments the battle that you want us to go in depth. Please do hit that thumbs up button below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.